Howdy, folks. Welcome to the channel, Rockin' the Country. I'm Don. I have got an interesting one here because I did something with Boots Randolph. Who was it? Boots, Chet, and someone else about a week ago. And it was courtesy of her. And it was courtesy of Harry Workmon, who made a gift for me to do this one. So, Harry, firstly, shout out to you. Thank you for this gift and request. But this one is of Bill Carlisle and Boots Randolph. Too old to cut the mustard. I don't know where they'll go with this one, if it's funny or, I mean, it has to be, right? And Harry said that this one was released in July of 1951 by Bill Carlisle and ended 1951 at number 6 on the country charts. This one is from 1965 with Bill Carlisle and Boots Randolph having fun. So let's find out what we're getting into. I love a good laugh. I've said this before. Human nature doesn't change. And that also applies to comedy and humor, irony, and just things that are ridiculous that we find funny. Like kids in every generation, in every century, find potty humor to be funny. Like, once they become like 3-4 years old and aware of like the toilet noises and stuff, whatever, there's comedy that's funny, and a lot of it stays funny, and that doesn't change among people. And sadness stays the same, heartbreak stays the same. It's just certain parts of human nature that don't change. And I love seeing these older clips because they just, they emphasize that, but they also show a whole lot more. So here we go.
Yeah, that's the exciting Boots Randolph. Boots is a very important part of the entertainment scene here in Music City, USA. As a matter of fact, Bill Carlisle just said he'd like to hear you play that again.
Man,
That one again?
Yeah.
I'd just like to say one thing about you, Boots. I've heard a lot of saxophone players, and I just want to say that you're one of them.
It's your one
Bill,
of
you
them.
suppose you could teach Boots any of the songs that you do?
Yeah, how about teach me
Can
one
you
of
pick
yours?
on that thing?
Can
think
I
you-
pick? Boy, you ain't heard nothing yet of it.
I think you're both too old to cut the mustard.
Let's do that.
I used to jump just like a deer. Now I need a new landing gear. Used to jump, picket fence. Now I'm lucky if I jump an inch. I'm too old, too old. He's too old to cut the mustard anymore. He done got too old, too old. You're too old to cut the mustard anymore.
This is one of those songs where you have to fill in the pieces of what cut the mustard refers to. He's talking about jumping and physical ability. I don't know where else he's going to go from here, but this being 65, it's still going to be, it was written in 51, and that was a much more proper time, shall we say, in lyricism and entertainment. So way more family oriented and all that stuff. So we're going to see, I don't think this becomes more salacious or on the nose, shall we say. So it's one of these things where you get to fill in the pieces of what they're referring to, taken from your own life.
When I was young, I had a lot of pep. I could get around, I didn't need no help.
Now I'm old and getting the gray, and the girls all look at me and say,
Too old, too old. He's too old to cut the mustard anymore. He's getting too old. He's done got too old. He's too old to cut the mustard anymore.
I'll pick one.
Hey, pick one.
Now you can see the Benny Hill connection.
I used to jump just like a deer. Now I need a new landing gear. Used to jump, pick a fence. Now I'm lucky jump and he shouts, too old, too old. He's too old to cut the mustard anymore. He's a getting too old.
He's done got
Too old. He's too old to cut the mustard anymore.
These old shots of audiences and stuff. I don't know if that was an actual clip from the show itself, like of the audience. That could have been dubbed in from another type of show. I mean, that almost looked like it could have been like communist Russia, where everybody had to do things in a certain way, dress a certain way. But no, it was a much more stoic time back then, much more staid. People didn't express themselves individually and get loud and get up and dance in front of other people and say screw you. There was much more of a sense of social propriety, but nonetheless, the two of them had a lot of fun together. And it was funny in the beginning. You probably picked up on it, but maybe didn't focus on it. I certainly did, because it was a pretty good insult. When Bill said to Boots, he said, I just want to say that I've heard a lot of saxophone players in my time, and you are one of them. But no, he didn't say, and you're one of the best. That's what I was expecting to hear. So and you were one of them, that was a great way to insult somebody, and just having fun, obviously. But their timing of, just like during the song, looking at the other one and saying something. And, they just knew this song very well. I wonder how often they toured together and how often they played together. I wonder what the original song sounded like as well, because they clearly had fun in this one. But for it to hit number 6 on the country charts, could this sort of presentation, if it was audio only, have made it onto the country charts? I don't know. Maybe it could have. But certainly people can relate to it. In this final third of the song is when he said, now the girls look at me and just basically say, he's too old. He can't cut the mustard anymore. And you're like, all right, well, that's talking about performing sexually and other things, whether you've got the energy or not. But it is true. I know when I was younger, I'd look up at older folks and I wouldn't even think of being with an older woman. It just didn't even dawn on me. And same thing, like when you're in high school and you look at somebody who's in their mid-20s, you're like, they're way too old. And, but the age difference isn't that great, but at that age, it certainly is. And it isn't until maybe you hit your 40s where you might consider somebody 10 years older than you. But even that's rare. So, yeah. It happens that, when you hit your 40s and 50s, of course the teenagers and such and the 20-year-olds are looking at you like you're a dinosaur. You don't connect with the same music, you dress differently. It's just the way it works. And that's what growing old gracefully is saying, this is my station in life. Nobody checks my ID anymore when I go to buy wine or bourbon or whatever. And it's just, hey, you're moving on in life and embrace it for what it is. That's life. You get a life, you've got one. Enjoy it. Don't lament what you don't have. Embrace what you do and find ways of making it work. So, but these two are laughing about it. And it is true. It is like, oh, crap. Sometimes you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, my God, like what happened? And then usually those are tired moments. And sometimes, I don't know if this happens to you guys. I think it is a universal human thing, or if biological thing, like when you don't get enough sleep and you wake up, it isn't just that your eyes are tired, and I think your face does droop more when you're tired. It seems that way. And you're like, but then as the day goes on and you get into it and you get more energetic and all that, then you come back online and it seems like your face and other parts go into place. But that's the nature of the beast. What are you going to do about it, So, all right, Harry, thank you for this one, my friend. I'm sure this had a sense of nostalgia for some folks. And I'm going to rate my experience with this. And the number that instantly popped into my head, and this surprised me, was a 9.0. It wasn't overly complex. The lyricism was simple. Their performance was fun, though. And it is that sliver of life. you're getting older. In some ways you don't cut the mustard, but in other ways you look at younger ones and you're like, man, they just don't understand life. And that's the advantage of getting older. You have more experience, and if you stay energetic and optimistic and you keep that youthful enthusiasm about yourself, you can connect with younger ones because you can give them advice. And they're looking for it. So anyway, this is kind of fun. So Harry, thank you again, my friend. Have a great day, folks. I'll see you on another video, and keep rocking the country as long as you can.
I'd just like to say one thing about you, Boots. I've heard a lot of saxophone players, and I just want to say that you're one of them.